welcome, and thank you for joining in to this launching event for our accelerators. I think we can start now. So before getting into the topic, just a couple of technical details. So this session will use automated translation caption. So if you prefer to follow the event with captions in another language, just please click below on show captions and choose the language you are preferring. You will see here on the screen how and where you can do that. But if you have any problems of doing that, please just write in the chat and our team members will assist you in getting the captions in your language. And I will also kindly ask the fellow speakers to speak more slowly so the captions are as best as possible for the event. So I would say let's officially start now with this launching event. My name is Alisa Litivlasic, and I am a project manager at People Power and Co-Global Organizations. And it is a pleasure to have you all join in here to hear more about what our accelerator programs and what other ways we have of supporting you in expanding your public participation in the community. Before we proceed, as you can see here in the slides, there are so many partners that I really want to thank for their support and for work with us to get all these programs available. So you see here really great organizations that we are collaborating with, and they're actually making it happen with their resources and training, that all these trainings are actually at no cost for our participants. Looking at the agenda today, so first, we are going to discuss about the accelerator program. So what is the accelerator program? How does it work? What kind of support can you apply to? After that, we will hear more information about the two accelerator programs that are currently open for applications that we are launching today. Then we are also going to hear a little bit more about the Rising Stars Mentorship program, as well as some other training opportunities that are available to you if the accelerator, at the end, you'll see that it's not a perfect fit for you. At the end, there is also an opportunity of joining in breakout rooms where you will be able to choose the room depending on the program that you want to hear more information on. And you will have an opportunity to openly discuss with one of the speakers presenting on the program and ask very specific questions, learn more about how to submit your application, how to make your application stronger, and so on. And then after the breakout rooms, we will come back here and just go quickly through the next steps for the application. But before all that, I want to say, please feel free to ask questions in the chat. We will come back to you during the Q&A section. So as we are moving along, if there is any question whatsoever, just feel free to pop it in the chat. We'll be coming back to that later on. So today here, we have two other amazing speakers among the team members. We have Juan Francisco Suarez. He will give us more information on Democratic Innovations Accelerator. We have my colleague, Luisa Hardim, that will present on the Inclusive Democracy Accelerator. And I will quickly tell you a bit more about our Rising Stars Mentorship Program. And we have Ryan and Maria helping us with the technical things. But before giving the floor to Juan Francisco and setting us in the accelerator, I just want to say a couple of quick words about People-Powered Organization, if this is something new for you to hear. People-Powered is a global hub for participatory democracy, and it formed to address big global challenges to democracy. We address big two problems. First, the most voices are left out of government decisions. And even when we can elect our leaders, we then have just few opportunities to participate really in government decision-making. And with most of the people's voices being left out, we end up with some worse policies. And if people don't really think that they have a meaningful say in their government, they usually end up distrusting democracy and more likely to support authoritarian leaders. And the second one is that it's hard to engage people in governments. There are a lot of tools of participatory democracy that can make this work, but still governments and organizations really often struggle to make participation work. They face a lot of common challenges. And this is the reason why People Power is here. So we are here to help within this process. We expand people's power to make government decisions by supporting the organization and governments that are building participatory democracy around the world. So supporting you. We're like a global union for participatory democracy workers and people leading participation work on the ground. And now I would like to hear a little bit from you. So what is the biggest community challenge that you need support for? So what is that is happening in the community that you would like us to support you with, or if you just need a general support for? Write it in the chat, share a little bit, just so we know who is in the room. While you are typing down, I want to quickly give a little bit of an overview on the accelerator programs. And right after, we'll come back to the chat. So what is an accelerator? Why you should apply for the accelerator program? Creating change in our communities is hard. We know that. We heard from so many people working in governments and the civil society organizations, just like you, that it is quite difficult and there are many challenges within the community work. There are so many resources out there, but we still believe that it takes some consistent and action-oriented support to actually create new policies and programs that can change people's life in a positive way. So what is our accelerator? Our accelerator is an intensive and action-focused type of support to help you address the specific policy and community challenge that you are working on. And over the course of 6 months, the 6 months while the accelerator is lasting, you will be designing a step-by-step action plan to implement your participatory democracy processes. Who is the accelerator for? So there are two key groups that this support program is designed for. First, people who are government staff, officials, policymakers, and the second group, members of civil society organizations, non-governmental institutions, advocates, and so on, who are supporting for more public participation in government. Here, I would like to note that for some of our accelerator programs, we require a proof of partnership between the two. So we highly encourage that these two groups work together while implementing or developing their participative process, while in other programs, we are just highly recommending that the two work, okay? So for some accelerators, it is mandatory that you work together and you need to show proof. And for some of the programs, it is not mandatory, but highly recommended. But you'll hear more information depending on the program that you are mostly interested in. And plus, don't forget, you will have a breakout session at the end where you can ask specific questions for the program that you are mostly interested in. And how are we going to support you? In a very short, clear, manner. So one is that Accelerator provides guided expert mentorship. So you will have a mentor that is going to guide you through the journey. There is a global peer-to-peer learning process. There's a step-by-step resources available to you, and you will have a self-paced training throughout the process. Looking a little bit on the timeline, where we are at the moment and how the timeline is moving. So the deadline for the accelerator applications is on July 1st, and we will let you know about the results by end of July. And right after the summer period, so sometime first half of September, we are aiming for the program to start. And the program will last, as we said, for 6 months period. And now, besides the accelerator program that I mentioned, I also wanted to quickly mention another program, and that is the Rising Stars Mentorship program. That is also going to be presented in more detail afterwards, but just giving a quick overview of it. I would like to say that this is a different kind of a support providing program. It connects practitioners with experts that are aiming at launching or improving participatory programs, and they need to solve a specific question, a specific challenge. So this is a program that offers one-on-one support. And for this program, the timeline is very similar. So the application will go from July 1st, and by end of July, you will get the responses in a sense of the selection process. And we are starting right away, and you have about 6 months for the mentorship program in a lasting period. Okay, so I think there are a lot of informations that we just heard, and you will hear, and we will go a little bit more in detail in a second. But before moving there, I would quickly like to go through a simplified flow chart, just to see, to answer questions and to see where you might find yourself that you would fit maybe best. So the first question would be, are you planning to engage community members in government decision-making? So if your answer is yes, you are planning to engage community members in government decision-makings, or no. If your answer is yes, then we're going to look more detail into the accelerator programs and the Rising Stars, which I'll come back to. But if the answer is no, this is still a session for you. We still have some information for you, and we'll come to that as well. And we'll discuss about the resources and the courses that we are offering as well, where you can learn more about the participatory democracy. But let's now focus on the yes part. So on the yes part, if you are planning to engage a community member in government decision-making, let's go on a question of, are you looking for a comprehensive support to launch or improve a program? So a comprehensive support lasting for 6 months, or you are looking for an individualized support to solve a specific problem. If you're looking for a comprehensive support to launch or improve a program, there are 2 options. So one is focused on launching a program on youth participation in European Union and Horizon Europe countries. And if this is so, then your focus should be on Democratic Innovations Accelerator program. If your work is focused on including more women, youth, or displaced people in your existing program around the globe, so on a global level, then your focus should be more on Inclusive Democracy Accelerator. So this would be the program that would fit better to the supporting needs. And then going back to, if you are looking for an individualized support to solve a specific problem, then the program that you should be aiming to is the Rising Stars Mentorship program that is focused on the various areas and stages of launching or improving your program, supporting on one-on-one support. Okay, so this also, again, the whole flow chart might seem a little bit overwhelming. And this is why I will kindly now invite our first following speaker, Juan Francisco Suarez, to go a little bit more in depth of the first accelerator program. And then we'll hear from Luisa about the Inclusive Democracy Accelerator, and then we'll get back to Rising Stars Mentorship Program. So Juan Francisco, please take over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alisa. Welcome, everyone. My name is Juan Francisco Suarez. I am part of the coordination team of the capacity building activities in Global and People Power in the framework specifically of the Nets for Them project. And one of these activities is, of course, the Democratic Innovation Accelerator program. Next slide, please. In this year, we have already implemented from 2024 to 2025 2 different cohorts of the Democratic Innovation Accelerator program. But in this case, this third cohort that we are launching right now will be focused specifically on youth participation programs. So if you apply to this program, you will get the chance to be a part of the third cohort of organizations and institutions, in this case in Europe and Horizon Europe area. I will explain that after, to innovate on participatory democracy, but specifically on youth participation processes and decision-making programs. So who can participate here? As Alisa mentioned before, of course, government staff members, officials, policymakers who wants to launch or improve a youth participation program, but also staff of civil society organizations or coalitions that support or advocate for youth participation in government decision making. Of course, here we strongly encourage you to apply in a partnership. So the ideal scenario for an application is that you apply as one main applicant. It could be a government or a CSO, and then in partnership also with a government or a CSO, depending on the main applicant. So we will give priority, of course, to those applications applying in a partnership. So next slide. Yeah. So what do we mean exactly by democratic innovations with youth? When we talk about democratic innovations in the DIA program, we are talking about methods or processes which are aimed to enhance the engagement, participation, or influence of youth in the democratic decision-making process. So we could be talking about the development of new approaches, but also the adaptation of traditional democratic mechanisms in a way that we can ensure a more inclusive, transparent, and accountable governance. But the main objective would be to enable ordinary youth, in this case, to have a more direct impact on decisions that affect their lives and communities. So in this case, as I am talking about, we have the youth focus of this third cohort. So the first question is, who counts as youth in this program? We consider the main definition of the European Commission that usually is taken into consideration. So we will consider youth as people aged below 30 years old, including, of course, children, adolescents, and young adults from a diversity of backgrounds. But of course, we have some flexibility in this according to the context, because we know that the concept of youth is different depending on the country, the context, etc. So the youth focus means that we will support them, projects, programs, processes that actively involve youth in public decision making, but not only just as participants, but the ideal is that they are also involved as co-creators and co-designers of the processes. This is important, and we have decided to focus this new cohort in youth, because youth are often excluded from participations, and specifically in decisions that affect their life. So this program will help you to build inclusive, lasting spaces where the voices of youth can also shape the policies that affect directly their lives. Regarding the country eligibility criteria, in this case, the Democratic Innovation Accelerator program is focused on the European sphere. This is a program developing, as I mentioned before, in the Net for Them project, funded by the European Union. But we are not only focused on the European Union. Of course, we welcome applications from the whole EU27, but also from other parts of Europe, including, of course, the whole Western Balkan area, also Armenia, Georgia, Turkey, Ukraine, also the UK, and other countries, as you can see here. So then why you should apply for this program? My colleague Alicia explained before the accelerator model and what kind of support you will receive. But summarizing that, you should apply for this program if you want to receive an expert mentorship support from mentors with experience in the youth participation field in Europe, understanding also the variety of cultural contexts and languages. We will also try to match you with a mentor speaking your language if available, and with expertise in the process that you want to develop. And the mentor will also support you in the use of the participation playbook that we will explain afterwards, the tool. But you should apply for this program also if you want to launch a new program, in this case, focus on innovative approaches on youth participation, specifically in Europe, in the EU and Horizon region, but also to learn and exchange with other cohort members, since you will have also the chance during different live sessions to exchange during different peer learning activities with other participants of the cohorts working also on youth participation in Europe. So just before finishing my intervention, I would like to share with you some of the experiences that we have supported in the previous cohorts. The previous cohorts of the DIA program were focused on citizen participation in general, but we had some already some processes focused on youth participation. We can mention, for example, the participatory project in House K22 in the framework of the Inspire project in Budapest, which involved children as key participants for the remodelation of a building in the city, involving them using different methodologies like photo voice, storytelling, and sociodrama. We have also supported participatory budgeting processes involving youth through a youth advisory board and dedicating a specific funding for youth-led projects, which was the case, for example, here of the people-powered places in the London Borough of Newham. And in the most recent cohort, next slide, please. Yeah. In the cohort 2 of DIA, which is actually finishing during June, we have also some other experiences focused on youth, for example, in Ukraine, using different participatory methods with youth to co-design and implement activities to promote the participation of youth in volunteer initiatives, and also deliberative experiences, for example, supporting the development of a youth assembly in Kosovo. So just to finish my intervention, we'll have now the breakout room so we can give you more details about the program. My personal recommendation is also that you join the breakout room and also try to act soon. We'll have up to 40 spots available for applications. So we are looking forward to receiving them and working with you. The deadline is, of course, the 1st of July. And yeah, we'll have more time now in the breakout room. So thank you so much. And I'm giving now the floor to my colleague Luisa to present on the Inclusive Democracy Accelerator program.
Perfect. Thank you, Juanfran, for introducing DIA and also for calling me to start talking about the Inclusive Democracy Accelerator. Hi, everyone. I'm Luisa. I'm from Brazil. I'm based in São Paulo. And I'm going to introduce you to the Inclusive Democracy Accelerator. So before I start talking about that, just because I see many questions regarding regions in the chat, we are here talking about 3 different programs. So the first one that Juanfran just introduced you to, this is exclusive for Europe. The second one that I'm going to introduce you to now, Inclusive Democracy Accelerator, it is exclusive for Global South. So by that, we mean Africa, Asia, Latin America, and Eastern Europe. And then the third program that Alisa is going to introduce you to, the Rising Stars Mentorship Program, is open for our regions. And the reason why we do that is because some of the programs, they have specificities that are focused on those target regions. So that's why. So please stay with us, because regardless of the region you are in the world, there is a program for you here. So stay with us until the end. All right, so I'm going to start talking to you about the Inclusive Democracy Accelerator. So this is also an accelerator program. So it follows the same structure that Alisa was introducing to you in the beginning. So now we are inviting you to apply for the second cohort of the Inclusive Democracy Accelerator. It is a cohort of 12 people, so it's a small group. And people who want to improve an existing participatory program to include marginalized communities, such as youth, women, and displaced people. That means that this program is for people that already have a participatory program, have already implemented participatory democracy before, and want to improve this program in order to include more people. So I saw some comments here about the challenge of bringing everyone or including you for specific challenges of inclusion. So this program is for you. Who can participate? Civil society organizations that are working with collaboration with government authorities, or government authorities that are working in collaboration with civil society organizations. So what you need to have in order to apply, you need to have a proof of partnership showing that the 2 organizations are working together. You need to be based in Latin America, Africa, Asia, or Eastern Europe, as I was saying, and you need to have an ongoing participatory program. If you do not have an ongoing participatory program, wait, and then Alisa is going to introduce you to the mentorship program. So this one is focused on people who want to improve their existing program in order to include more people. So next slide, please. Okay, so why should you apply for this program? So if you want to engage marginalized communities in processes that you already have of participation and deliberation, if you want to receive 2 to 3 hours per week of training and mentorship support throughout 6 months, and that's all for free, all programs we're talking here are for free. If you want to develop an action plan to improve the engagement of women, youth, or displaced people, so we focused on those 3 target groups, but we also encourage you to apply if you're working with a different group, then you can also find the intersectionality and how these groups, they exist within the community that you're working with. And if you want to engage with other cohort members from those 4 different regions of the world that I was mentioning to support each other's work. What does an inclusive participatory democracy program look like in action? So this is an example of Mexico, a participatory budgeting process that they already have with an indigenous community. And they wanted to engage more women in this process. So I'm just going to highlight, you can find all about this program in our blog, People Powered's blog. You can find everything about this case. But what they did, because they wanted to include women, they had to be more sensitive to the existing cultural customs and community rules kind of that existed in that region to understand how what was the position of women and how they could approach them in a more effective way and in a more sensitive way. They hired women to manage the program, so people who their target group could identify with the facilitators, with people they're inviting them to participate. And they were doing outreach in schools because there they could reach both girls that were going to school and also mothers who usually in this community and in many other communities are the ones that go to school to pick up their kids, etc. And then next slide. So just for you to understand who gets accepted to this program, who do we work with? So I'm bringing some examples from the first cohorts that is happening right now. So we have all of them are partnerships between NGOs and local governments. So one of them, the NGO is the lead applicant, and they're working on the inclusion of indigenous communities in participatory processes. That's in Guatemala, Latin America. The second one, the local government is the lead applicant, and they're working on the inclusion of youth in their climate action plan. That's in Africa. And then the NGO and local government working on how to safely include marginalized groups in participatory processes in context of war. We have 2 examples of this, 2 people working in context of war or conflicts. One is Burkina Faso in Africa, and the other one is Ukraine in Eastern Europe. So these are the people that usually apply to this program and start using the content to further develop their action plans to include marginalized communities. What is the support that you will receive? Guided expert mentorship. So you have a mentor and going to meet with this mentor to help you through your program. Peer-to-peer learning with a global community, step-by-step resources, so online courses that you can take and other online content. There's a self-paced training for you. And also program support in English, but the mentorship and the resources, they are also available in Spanish, Portuguese, and French. So if you have limited English proficiency, that's not going to stop you from applying. Please reach out to us so we can see what we can do. And also there's an online workshop week. We just had one in the beginning of May with the current cohort, and it was amazing. 4 days of online content, and then everyone was interacting. So yeah, that's it. So please feel free to apply. Applications are now open, and we're going to have the breakout room in the end if you have more questions. And I'm going to pass it to Alisa to introduce the Rising Stars program.
Luisa, thank you so much. Juan Fran as well, thank you so much. I think now there are a lot of information, like a decision to be made for which program. But there is the third one that I mentioned, the Rising Stars Mentorship Program, which is a bit different from the Accelerator program. So this is a one-on-one mentorship support, so one-on-one support to help you implement or improve the participatory program that you are working on. The objectives in the next slide, the objectives of the program are to connect the practitioner with an expert, so providing the expert guidance to launch and improve the participatory program and solve specific questions or challenges. So this is less of just a learning process like Accelerators, but more of receiving a specific mentor, one-on-one mentorship support to help you solve some specific questions or challenges. So we are matching advocates, policymakers, program managers that are seeking the guidance to the on-the-ground experts who can address the questions that you are asking for. Also, just as a note, because of the whole discussion on the geographical spread, so this cohort selection is going to be focused on EU and the Horizon Europe region, but also applications from all over the world, also globally, are very much welcome. Who in particular is this program for? It's for the activists and civil society organizations. It is for the government officials and the community partners who are trying to plan participatory programs, and it is for staff in government and civil society organizations that are responsible for implementing participatory program. And how does this actually look like? So we very carefully match the mentees with expert mentors based on the language and the time zone, the location that they are in, the type of participatory method or challenge that is in question, the specific support that you need, and the mentor availability, of course. So our mentors are experienced practitioners from all around the world. And when we are trying to match you, of course, we are trying to also match the cultural context that you are coming from, their knowledge about the legislative within your region, and so on, but also trying to match the language so you can also work on your native language throughout the program. And how the sessions look like. So they are one-on-one sessions. Each mentee can receive up to 5 mentoring sessions over a period of 6 months. And we are talking about sessions that are usually 45 to 60 minutes and tailored to your goal. You'll receive practical advice, reflections, guidance that actually directly apply to your context. So you are receiving a very much focused support within this program. Just as an example of 3 examples that we had within the previous cohorts of the Rising Stars. Berlin Pankow district that received support to co-create a gamified platform, boosting civic engagement. The Ministry of Health was also one of our participants. They received support improving their Pacjentski hub. It's a patient's hub, the ministry's main participatory body that is involving the representatives of patient organizations. Or the third one from Nigeria, the Street Project Foundation, Advocacy, receiving support to implement a youth-led movement in Nigeria that uses legislative theater and storytelling to promote social justice. So these are just three very examples. And but we are having Rising Stars mentorship program is one of the, I would say, oldest, longest lasting supporting program. So there are so many more examples that you can check also on our website. And on the next slide, you can see a QR code where you can also apply. This call is not like the other accelerator program calls. So this is on a rolling basis. You can apply at any time, but on July 1st, we are actually checking all the applications and doing the selection process. So I would highly encourage you to apply as soon as possible, because spots are limited because of the mentors that the number of mentors that are limited. So I would go back now to the first, to the flow chart. As I mentioned earlier, answering the question, are you planning to engage community members in government decision-making? And if the answer was no, but you are still interested in learning more about participatory democracy and are interested in the resources and courses where you can learn more from, then we have a couple of other things that you might find interesting. One is the Resource Center. This compiles the best practice resources on participation. You can see it on our website. It has a very comprehensive library that are curated, recommended reading list on various languages across the globe. And we understand that there are so many guides, so many resources out there, and it's usually very difficult to see which ones are the right ones. And this is actually what we have created. This is the curated list of the resources that we have actually looked in and think that might be of a support within your work. We also support you with online courses. So there is a list of online courses that are free, that are self-paced courses, that are open. So you don't need to go through the application process. They're open for all. You just need to create a login on the site, and that's all. These courses are quite introductory to participatory democracy, but still you can learn a lot on them on a different topics, on inclusion of women, on youth, displaced people, and so on. And some of these courses are also part of the Inclusive Democracy Accelerator within the program. But I want to highlight that these are something separate from the Accelerator program, that are open, they are free, and you can just apply to them without going through the application process. And the third part that I wanted to talk about is the participation playbook. So this is one of the most comprehensive tools that we have developed. It compiles the content, so all the resources, the best practices from other guides and manuals, and it turns it to more accessible and the user-friendly design tool. So this is an online tool that walks you through some key questions, how to design, in what way to design your participatory program. And at the end, it offers some recommended options, guidances, guidelines for you to actually create your plan. So through this playbook, you are actually creating an action plan that works for your context. So it's a very tailor-made action plan that will support your work within your local community. And before turning to your questions, I would also invite you to apply to become a People Power member. So we have over 200 members across the globe. Majority are from Africa, Asia, Eastern Europe, Latin America, but they're really across the globe. And one of our commitments is to shift power in this field towards groups in these regions. So if you do find interest in everything that we have spoken of and would like to be part of this movement, of a people-powered movement, we do highly encourage you to apply to become a people-powered member. And I would now actually give the floor to all of you to your questions. Let me quickly go through the chat. I saw earlier that some of the questions got already answered while we were discussing, especially about the region, the regional geographical spread of the programs. But if you have any particular question at this moment, please put it down in the chat. I think we are okay with taking one or two questions. Or otherwise, maybe we can even move to the breakout rooms, especially if you have more focused questions depending on the program.